What is going on, everybody? It is episode 833 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy Monday. We are back from Mother's Day weekend. I hope that you all had a lovely time. And to all of the moms watching out there, happy Mother's Day. Happy belated Mother's Day.
Not to be too woke, but that sounds pretty girl boss.
Is that woke?
That's pretty woke.
Is Mother's Day woke
Mother's
now?
Day is pretty woke.
I didn't get the memo. I saw a lot of posts about how to make Mother's Day more inclusive for everybody who's like not a mom. Because that happens with every holiday now. It just has to include everyone, or else it's, it's bigoted.
I posted a Mother's Day post, Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, and then posted a picture of me and my mom from when I was a kid. And then my next tweet was going to be women say they're not insane, then say something absolutely crazy like let's buy seasonally specific candy dishes, which is something I experienced over the weekend. But then realized...
Oddly specific.
Then realized that posting such a thing right after posting something so charming and so loving about Mother's Day just seemed incongruous, so I didn't post it.
It's charming that women want seasonal candy dishes,
it is,
in my opinion. We have a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. Brett, excellent article. You have a great writing style and need to write more. Mary, beat him until he writes more. I went to traditional Latin Vespers last night and added y'all to my intentions. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brett put out an article with the Daily Caller.
Yeah, in as much as you can call it an article.
You're being too humble. Tell us what it was about. Tell us everything.
Well, we'll reference it.
Or we'll get to it later.
Yeah, we'll mention it. We're going to mention it in our main topic today, which is something we got to get into. So hit the like button on this video, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Whether you are watching on YouTube or on Rumble, you should go ahead and subscribe now. I believe we passed 360,000 subscribers on YouTube over the weekend, and we passed 1.4 or 1.38
1.4K on Rumble. Let's go.
We're getting there. Ever so often we're gonna crawl
winning.
our way up.
We can't stop winning.
No, we cannot.
It's crazy.
So hit the like button on the video as well. Make sure you subscribe and then share the videos out with everybody you know. The more people that you share the episodes with, the more people that you share the content with, the faster channels like this can grow. And we did get some good views over the weekend. Those segments be hitting.
Yeah, we just know we have our finger on the pulse of the culture at all times. Yeah. We just kind of have a sixth sense for what people want to see
on their weekends.
Not a lot of people really have that gift, but us two, we're just on a different wavelength. So
it's hard being
not to brag.
It's hard being us. What are we getting into today? We've got a lot to talk about, but number one being on Friday, some articles were written and some clips came out showing Tom Cruise. They are on the press tour, the promotional tour for the final Mission Impossible movie. At least that's what they're claiming. Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. And during no, don't listen to Mary. But during this press conference, Tom Cruise was asked a question about Donald Trump's tariffs, or at least the proposed tariffs that Donald Trump has said that he wants to impose on Hollywood. And Tom Cruise, being the absolute professional that he is, sidestepped the question in a very artful manner, proving that he is the only celebrity who doesn't want to come out and yell at you about politics. So we were going to talk about that. Think of it as a celebration of sorts for common sense. I also want to show a couple of clips of him doing stunts that they're putting out there preparing for the new Mission Impossible movie. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about Selena Gomez, who's she's in the news because apparently she had a mental health startup company that's up in flames right now. And we're going to talk about it. She's going to have to call Elizabeth Holmes for advice on how to run a company. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a app that exists where women review bad dates and warn off other women.
Yeah, it's more like it's sort of doxing network for men that they date, that they find from Hinge or Tinder, what have you. And it's incredibly dangerous. You know,
sounds like it.
Something that's billed as a tool for women's safety when it comes to online dating, but it really, of course, is just a tool for them to gossip.
Okay.
So it's had some pretty severe ramifications on the already like hellish dating world that we exist in.
We will talk about that. We are also going to we got a bunch of other stuff to get into today. There's this absolutely insane woman that's covering the Diddy trial.
Yeah.
We live in unserious times, ladies and gentlemen. So
Can't
before we
wait.
get started, I just want to point out again, you can go and subscribe to us over on Rumble. Like I said, we have passed 1.38 thousand subscribers. So we're going to get up there.
Thank you so much.
Little by
all
little.
1.4K.
We appreciate you. So go ahead and subscribe over there. All right. If you're ready, we can just get started. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and dunk on Snow White. You thought it was over. It is not over.
Over the Mother's Day weekend, Disney decided to re-release the live-action Snow White movie. I don't know what this has to do with Mother's Day. It was kind of a random decision, but it's really on its last legs, and they're just seeing how much money they can cough up out of this movie at the very last minute.
I don't think that's what it is.
Didn't make
because
any money at all.
It costs money to go back into theaters to take up those screens. So,
right. It's almost like a desperate attempt at gaining relevance back, but no one even talked about it. It was re-released in over 1,300 theaters domestically, and grossed from that nearly $210,000 total. That is a per theater average of $50 for the entire weekend, which I would believe is, with ticket prices these days, maybe two tickets, like two people.
Literally,
per theater?
That's me when I want to go see a movie and I'm like, I'll wait till Tuesday.
Literally. That's like 2, maybe 3 people per theater, and not families.
Yeah, because the kids would get cheaper tickets.
Who are these people?
I don't know. I did laugh at this tweet from Stephanie. It says, in honor of Mother's Day, Snow White is re-releasing in theaters. Take your mom to see a movie about a stepmom who wants to kill her stepdaughter.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit weird and out of conjunction with the themes in the movie.
Yeah.
Both the themes that originally existed in it and the ones that they rewrote.
It is also fair to point out, ladies and gentlemen, that just recently, given the Disney quarterly earnings report, they have essentially confirmed that both Snow White and Captain America 4, Captain America Brave New World, were ridiculous flops. They said theatrical distribution results were comparable to the prior year quarter, as the carryover performance of first quarter releases Mufasa, The Lion King, and Moana 2 were largely offset by the results of second quarter releases Snow White and Captain America Brave New World. What they're telling you there, ladies and gentlemen, is that all of the goodwill and the money that was earned by Mufasa, which did, for its bad opening weekend, ended up legging it out to like $770 million, made a lot of money. And then the obvious success of Moana 2, which was a surprise hit to a lot of people, not to us, because we heard people talking about Moana 2 in the summer when we were traveling. It was offset by the failures of Captain America, Brave New World, and Snow White.
It's so funny how they tend to phrase these things in earnings calls.
It has to be
make it sound as flattering as possible to the board and the investors. But I feel like it kind of relates back to like what we do. We're always trying to predict what will catch people's attention on YouTube and what topics appeal to certain audiences. Sometimes we miss, sometimes it's a hit. It's totally unpredictable.
It is. Well, I mean, not always. So recently we did the topic about waterboarding yourself, and I was telling her, and I think it has to do with a video at a time when you weren't here. Because I like covering that stuff because I think it's insane.
Sure.
But usually, in lieu of it being something that we're both interested in, those will be like the first to go. So when we covered that one, I was like, no, I've done a couple like these. It's going to bomb. Like, the live viewership will probably think it's hilarious and depressing. But upon rewatch, when the segment comes out, I don't think it'll do well.
Right.
And that was pretty much the case for most of those types of segments. It also happened over the weekend because we did the thing about 10 Things I Hate About You. And I was like, I don't think people are going to... Like, there are times where I make videos about things that I'm interested in that I know. Like, when I did the video about the Royal Pains reboot, I'm like, literally, I'm making this for me. It's literally a side quest because nobody's going to care. I'm the only one who's going to want to hear about this stuff. I was thinking about making one for Suits LA, which was canceled after one season. But I was like, nobody cares. Like, there's a reason it was canceled because nobody cares.
Well, sometimes also we put out a video thinking it's not going to do well, and then it does big numbers out of nowhere. And it makes it really hard to predict. That's just some inside baseball.
There was a Jaden
of
Smith
our
one that I
YouTube
didn't think was
numbers.
going to do well that did very well.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's really hard to predict, but like I'm just thinking about how they plan out these theatrical releases at Disney, and I wouldn't have expected Mufasa to do as well as it did. It wasn't gangbusters, but then Moana 2, easy to predict the success. Snow White on paper you would think is an easy win for them, but they did everything they could to sabotage it. And then upcoming, the Lilo and Stitch live action movie almost certainly is going to make them over $1 billion.
I would think so.
It sucks that it has nothing to do with the actual quality of the entertainment that they're making, because I just know, based on looking at the trailer, that the live action Lilo and Stitch is slop. It's just slop, as was Mufasa. It was very easy to tell. I'm looking at these alien characters that they're putting in Lilo and Stitch, and it's just not something that translates to live action. There's a reason why it was animated in the first place. And they made these characters that used to be cute look terrifying.
Like
maybe not Stitch, but the other aliens, they just look terrifying and soulless. And it doesn't matter because people will just tune into the slop anyway. It's disheartening to know that like our standards have dropped so low.
That
and
is
it doesn't
true of
matter
animation.
anymore.
Lion King, live
Live
action
Lion King.
with its like really creepy, emotionless faces.
That
made
flopped, right?
No, it made $1 billion.
What?
Yeah.
I just don't understand people. How could they possibly want to go see this like weird uncanny valley baby lion with beady eyes and no character in its face? It's creepy.
1.6 billion worldwide.
Is that just the international audience that is booning it up?
So no, because it made it made 500. It only made like a quarter of it in America.
It's a glorified nature documentary, but they made it into a musical.
Yeah, under 2 hours though.
I just don't understand what people like anymore.
Also, if you're wondering what the final totals were on Snow White, it just barely crossed 200,000 or 200 million here
You
worldwide.
mean total?
Yeah.
For its entire run, including this past weekend.
200 million, 202 million.
And they spent what, like 400 million on it?
A lot of money was spent on it.
Wasn't it like 270 on just the production?
We'll never even know because of all the reshoots and everything. So we'll never ever know.
Definitively lost like hundreds of millions,
Yes.
we can say that confidently.
And if you want a better example of this movie getting absolutely spanked, look at the Revenge of the Sith, which was re-released in theaters like 2 weeks ago and made $42 million.
Yeah.
So if you're losing out to not even like Star Wars that people necessarily love the most, but Star Wars.
Yeah.
Sad.
There's a winning formula, and it's everything that they used to do and they don't do anymore.
Also, if you're wondering, Thunderbolts had like a 55% drop this weekend, but the problem is the opening weekend box office was so low it doesn't even really matter, even with your name change making it New Avengers. So look, they have a problem going on at Disney right now. I do think Lilo and Stitch is going to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
I do think that it's going to make
Undeniable.
$1 billion at the box office, and I think a lot of people
even without
believe that as well.
cross-dressing Pleakley?
Yes.
What?
So, as for Rachel Zegler, she's got her next project she's working on. Gal Gadot is going to make a movie where she's playing an escaped World War II prisoner, right?
Correct.
Remember? Right?
She goes on a hunt for Nazis or
yes.
something.
It's very on brand for her these days. So that's gonna be great.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna do big numbers in Israel. So
I don't think anybody expected Snow White to make a ton of money this weekend, but reopening in 1,300 theaters is no mean feat. Sinners only fell 30% this past weekend, so it's still making tons of money at the box office, and that's on a brand new property that they're going to be giving back to Ryan Coogler in 25 years. He's going to re-own it again.
Hit, huh?
Yeah, it was. So I just don't think anybody was surprised by this. It's kind of giving Morbius.
The re-release?
Yeah.
But there's no mimetic energy to it. So
But
it's not like
they
Morbius
tried,
re-release at all.
But they tried and it failed. They both failed. It's like Morbius in that it failed.
Did they?
They should have done some type of meme camp. You know what they should have? You know what they should have done? They should have taken the over-exaggerated lower lip videos of Rachel Zegler and then AI'd them to talk about the re-release and put them on official Disney sites.
Right, because then if you do that, Rachel Zegler contractually can't even say that she's mad about it.
Yeah.
But there was a suspicious absence of memes about this movie that weren't just like bullying Rachel Zegler.
I don't know if there is
Not that
any.
I have a problem with that, but there were no memes about the movie itself. I guess because so few people actually even watched it, they couldn't use any of the material.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what those memes
I saw,
would have
like,
been.
people clipping Gal Gadot and saying, why does she sound like Scooby-Doo?
Yes. Well, there was memes about her being, like, having no, like, ability to sing and her line delivery being bad. But that was just mean-spirited. Just like the stuff about Rachel Zegler's appearance was mean-spirited. I feel like Rachel Zegler, the way they talked about her with the exaggerated lower lip thing is what they're doing to Bella Ramsey, where with every new meme, she looks like Shane Gillis more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey's getting dragged.
It's very mean. All right. Just let us know, guys. Were you one of the people that went and saw Snow White over the weekend? I bet you there's at least one person in there.
I don't think so, if I had to guess.
All right. Let us move on.
A true crime YouTuber named Stephanie Sue somehow made her way into the Diddy trial. The trial itself has not yet begun, but they're in the process of jury selection. And this YouTuber, who has no journalistic credit, no career in journalism whatsoever, she is merely known for eating massive amounts of fast food in mukbang videos where she narrates crime stories. And that's literally it. That's her entire shtick. A lot of people find that she is able to deliver her video essays respectfully. And other people think that it's inherently disrespectful that she is shoveling her face with KFC while talking about someone dying in a brutal way.
They literally do this in an episode of Person of Interest. Reset the counter. The character of Shaw, like, they show a flashback to her when she was in medical school, and like somebody, like a patient of hers, like she was going to be a surgeon and a patient dies, and she like tells the family while eating a Cliff Bar.
Yeah. Well, look, you can't argue with the numbers because Stephanie Sue is massively popular. I think that maybe she was given a press badge just to get more media attention on the trial in general.
Why isn't Elad over there? We need Elad over
Yeah, what the heck? Elad, get over there, get in the Diddy trial, and start making mukbangs with Stephanie Sue. That's what we want. So she posted a TikTok talking about what's going on inside the courtroom because there are no cameras allowed, and you're just supposed to rely on her telling you her side of the story.
I mean, the woman who shovels KFC down her face, I trust her implicitly.
She's surprisingly svelte.
Okay, here we go.
I just spent 8 hours in a room with Diddy. This is my first time leaving the house in 3 months, and I'm at a federal courthouse in New York City. This is day 2 of jury selection for Diddy's trial, and it was, okay, listen, there's...
Is she like using hand sanitizer right now?
No video cameras allowed. There's nothing. It's not being live streamed, and there's only 3 rows of press that were allowed inside. Listen, the sketch artists are so good, but something about seeing him...
This is exactly the type... Guys, this is why women probably shouldn't be journalists, because imagine it's the OJ trial and someone was like, did you see that person doing the sketches? Like, that's something you make 20 years down the line in like a...
OJ was like low-key serving cunt in the courtroom. This is why women, end of sentence. Just keep going. Yeah.
In person, in the same room, was so intense. He would turn around and make eye contact with like each members of the press and just like everyone in the courthouse. And the way that we can describe the way he looks, because there's no pictures allowed, so we don't really know, but...
She's eating an Uncrustable.
Yeah.
The way he looks is... Okay, we were having debates about this during lunch, but it's like, you know koalas when they get fuzzy? Like if it's really humid and they have like very fuzzy grayish white hair? He kind of is reminiscent to that, but let me tell you, the way he looks at every single person in that courtroom is the most intense thing ever. I feel like he's challenging people to break eye contact first. I almost peed myself. But I'm gonna go through all of the jury selection details in...
Barbara Walters is just like...
Barbara Walters is quaking.
Yeah.
Maybe another TikTok, maybe in a YouTube video. Follow Rotten Mango on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube. But starting Monday, once the actual trial starts, once the opening statements start, I'm going to be in there every single day, and I'm going to give you all the details every single day.
Every single day.
This is like...
Which is today. It starts today.
Yes. This is kind of like Time Traveler Steps on a Stick, House and Habit. Right?
Yeah.
So we wanted, as a society, we wanted to tear down the halls of power that were the media and the institutions. We wanted to get rid of your news reporter behind a desk in his suit and tie and the woman in her dress. We wanted on-the-ground reporting from people just like you and me. Yes. Unfortunately, people just like you and me eat Uncrustables and use hand sanitizer while talking about the absolute brutal attack on women and all other such matters of indecency. And children. So, I suppose we had this coming.
If you wanted to see the mainstream media outlets crash and burn and get replaced by independent media, this is what that looks like.
We spent so long.
For better or for worse.
We spent so long wondering if we could. We never stopped to ask ourselves whether we should.
She followed this up with another TikTok saying in the caption, "Just a girl eating her mushy PB&J outside the federal courthouse after spending 8 hours in the same room as Diddy, taking 79 pages of notes because cameras aren't allowed in the courtroom, and I know you need to know what's happening." So, updates to follow on her YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, every platform. She's going to probably gain a massive following that on top of the one she already has from this coverage, and enrich herself on the irreverence of her coverage about something so inherently serious as claims of abuse, PDF-philia, etc. And, since they're in the process of jury selection when she recorded that video, they're asking people if they're aware of celebrities, and I don't know whether they prefer to use baby oil as genital lubricant.
Okay, so what I'm picturing now is like her making her "Get Ready With Me" video right outside the courthouse because she's such a hot mess.
Right.
That's how I would characterize her delivery. Hot mess delivery.
Get ready with me in the courthouse bathroom before the Diddy trial, day one.
I'm wearing orange in honor of the victims.
So deeply unserious.
It's so deeply unserious.
So here were some of the tweets criticizing Stephanie Sue. "The defense of Stephanie Sue will never fail to floor me, because why do you feel compelled to defend a woman who monetizes herself telling stories about the brutalization of real people as though it is gossip or a fairy tale?"
It is. Okay, so that has always been what's weird to me about, look, I like, okay, I shouldn't say that I like true crime, but I like Mr. Ballin, I guess, in so much as that it seems like there's at least a certain amount of seriousness paid to the material. But when I'm watching a woman put eyeshadow on, he's like, and then he cut her head off, I can't.
There's no real way to do that respectfully, but I will entertain the argument. I mean, okay, take a look at this thumbnail from Stephanie Sue. She's sitting there with a co-host of some sort, and the title of her video is "Sick Psychological Experiment Let PDF Files Adopt Young Kids for Fun. KFC Mukbang." And it's just mountains of fried chicken in front of her, making a scared face like, they were brutalizing children?
The only way it could be more unserious is if she had food in her mouth.
If she's actively eating a chicken wing?
Yeah.
Yeah. One person who is a fan of hers said that she regularly tackles heavy subject matter like murder and makes it palpable by inserting respectful playfulness and still advocating for victims. It's just her style of presenting information. I'm just saying I'd rather hear her take than someone in the media. What do you
Okay,
say?
so I will say that 110% she's going to find an audience of people that just don't have the desire to sit there and watch a person with a suit and tie or a pleated dress relay information what is societally referred to as the appropriate manner. So there's always going to be a market for something like this. Now, I don't think you're ever going to see something like this make it onto mainstream television, but this is what the internet is. It's taking a bunch of different ideas, many of which are not socially acceptable, and finding your audience. So
I'm not sure there is an objectively right or wrong way to consume information about crime.
I would never.
There is a proper way to make the content, to present the information. I don't think Stephanie Sue is on the mark, being surrounded by donuts and ramen noodles and fried chicken while she talks about people getting murdered or assaulted. In fact, people have reposted her takes on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial from a couple of years back, which I hadn't seen before. And she's just in the middle of eating ramen while talking about the Johnny Depp trial. And I wanted to show that clip.
Okay, hold on here. And here we go.
Johnny Depp is not a victim. He clearly much is, but he can also be an imperfect victim. And I think especially when dealing with even true crime, it's important to remember just because somebody is not perfect and does not light up the room when they walk in, doesn't mean that their trauma isn't as important as victims whose smiles were contagious. Do you get what I'm saying? So, sure.
The chewing sound effect is hers.
It was like
She put that in
It was like if all you listened to was the audio version of it, it was perfectly fine up until the comical sound effect and the edit.
Yeah. And this person said, I feel nothing but disgust towards you doing a mukbang and casually talking about an abuse trial while taking the abuser's side is nasty. Quietly deleting the video to avoid backlash instead of apologizing. You're a horrible person and I wish the worst, Stephanie Sue. Yeah.
It's kind of like what I always tell you, like this day and age, you have to kind of, if you want internet fame, you have to be okay with being viewed as a horrible person.
Which makes you a little bit of a sociopath. Like,
Yeah.
you're just willing to do whatever it takes for your own benefit and your own following. And she has clearly found her niche of hundreds of thousands, millions of people who want to see this kind of content. I think it is desensitizing them to human suffering and the gravity of the stories that she is telling. I truly do. But I also don't think that the mainstream media is any less or more trustworthy than Stephanie Sue.
Correct.
That's not really the point.
In
It's
fact,
just
one might even argue that that's more nefarious because it's attempting to give itself an air of officiality and superiority that it doesn't deserve, oftentimes hiding much more nefarious intentions.
I think both forms of presenting this information have their own faults.
Perhaps one is evil and one is disrespectful.
Sure. We have a 20 from Cesario JPN. Wow, and I thought many true crime YouTubers were danger hair-colored women with daddy issues. Of course, nobody can match the true crime king Robert Stack and Unsolved Mysteries. Dennis Farina was a poor replacement. I'm not a fan of any true crime. I don't really listen to any of it. I don't watch any of it. I think that it can truly desensitize you over time to continue exposing yourself to these horrific stories of people suffering and being killed and stalking and all of this stuff. It just makes it all into, as they said, a fairy tale. Like, you're not really engaging with the fact that this really happened. And sometimes people are even making a joke out of it by pairing it with a mukbang or a get ready with me video, putting on their makeup. It doesn't match the seriousness of what they're covering.
Yeah.
And that matters. It's like wearing sweatpants to a funeral.
If you want to do, like, I guess people would make the argument, like, if you want to do Get Ready With Me, is then review movies about violence or something like that, and maybe stay out of the
That
true crime.
doesn't make as much money, though.
The real question is food allowed in the courtroom?
Well, Stephanie Sue would love that, but she's eating her Uncrustable on the sidewalk instead.
What she's gonna do is she's gonna have like a fake courtroom set built where she's gonna deliver her monologues about it, like with a bucket of chicken next to her.
Love it. The latest update that I actually heard about the goings-on of the Diddy trial is that his defense team is arguing that him and Cassie were mutually abusive, that they were both beating up on each other. And I don't know, just after watching that hotel surveillance footage that TMZ released of him brutally beating Cassie, I didn't see her fighting back in any way. I saw him just beating her to a pulp with no retaliation whatsoever.
I mean, what is she going to retaliate? I saw another headline. I saw some other gross ones today that shall not be mentioned on here in relation to it. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. I did kind of get a chuckle out of the judge, who looks like a college student. Like shows up to court with his headphones on, and he looks like he's in his early 30s. It's just nothing feels real or serious. And like when you picture a judge, you picture like an old withering, he's supposed to be like a bulwark against change in society. Like, and this is just not that. Like,
he shows up with AirPods.
Yeah. No, he had the over-the-ear headphones on.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, all right. let's move on then.
It is a very sad day for actresses attending the Cannes Film Festival who were planning to show up to the red carpet wearing nothing but tissue paper over their breasts. The new rule states that in the interest of decency and respect for society, they need to be wearing clothes in front of the cameras. And it's just shocking to me in the first place that this needs to be stated. But it got to the point last year at the Cannes Film Festival where people were just showing up in less than underwear with areolas out. It was fully free the nip, and not just because it's held in France. I think they have a bigger problem with protesters crashing the event than people who were actually invited showing up without clothes. But this is a step in the right direction. So, as you can see in these two examples, you have Bella Hadid at last year's Cannes Film Festival wearing a sheer dress that is nude, flesh-toned, and in other photos you can very clearly see that her nipples are out, but not in this one specifically. And then this other example, I'm not sure who this is, but she's wearing a completely sheer excuse for a dress. I wouldn't even call it a dress. With barely anything covering her vagina or her boobs, and legs just fully out. You're basically flashing people, and this is what was considered acceptable dress at the Cannes Film Festival up until just now, when they've announced a new dress code. Yep. So I went to the Cannes Film Festival website and looked at their official guidelines for the update. It says they are expecting evening wear, long dresses, tuxedos required. Alternatively, you may also wear a little black dress, a cocktail dress, a dark colored pantsuit. I think people are going to take the term little black dress and run with that one and take it as far as they can. Yeah. Dressy top with black pants, elegant shoes, and sandals with or without a heel. No sneakers. A black or navy blue suit with a bow tie or dark colored tie. Tote bags, backpacks, or large bags are prohibited during screenings. For decency reasons, here is the key part of it. For decency reasons, nudity is prohibited on the red carpet at Cannes, as well as in any other area of the festival. And the festival welcoming teams will be obligated to prohibit red carpet access to anyone not respecting these rules. For all other screenings, proper attire is sufficient. And there was one extra note. Voluminous outfits, in particular those with a large train on the back that hinder proper flow of traffic of guests and complicate seating in the theater, are not permitted. I kind of, tell me if I'm making this up, if this is like some kind of Mandela effect, but don't you remember last year at Cannes, there was one specific celebrity that showed up with an extremely long, obstructive train on her dress and was yelling at people working the event?
Was she saying choo choo? I don't remember that.
Do you know what a train is?
I have no idea what that means. I'm a dude.
Okay, a train on a dress or a veil or whatever it is, it's basically like a long piece of fabric that follows along and drags on the floor.
Okay.
So this one, I cannot remember who it was, but it turned into a whole racism scandal because there was a staff member at the Cannes Film Festival last year who was white telling this black female celebrity that she needed to move off of the red carpet.
I remember that.
She was trying to get a proper photo of
she didn't pay
huge train on her dress.
So this, if I remember correctly, the one lady didn't pay to be photographed. Like, you have to pay to be photographed on the stairs at Cannes or whatever. And
I guess her team didn't tell her that.
Her team didn't pay for that.
It was crazy that this staff member ended up being targeted and called a racist just for enforcing the rules. Now
that was that guy. It was it was a woman. It was a woman, right? It was like a female worker.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was a white woman. The celebrity was a black woman, and it turned into this whole like racial controversy. Now the Cannes Film Festival staff are gonna have a much more challenging task, basically being the chaperones at this middle school dance. I remember every time that I went to a middle school or high school dance at my religious schools, you had to start off in line at a door, and then the teachers or chaperones would have to evaluate what you were wearing.
Make sure that you were...
The rules were very strict. I mean, almost impossible to find stuff that fit these rules. But 3 fingers below the collarbone.
That was the most you could do?
At most showing on your chest.
And I bet you they picked the teacher with the tiniest, thinnest fingers in the whole school to do the measuring.
Exactly. And the straps, if you were wearing anything without sleeves, had to be, I believe, at least 3 fingers thick. Maybe
strap
more.
This thick?
Yeah. Yeah, it had
What the
to be
hell?
like
That's
this.
just a waistband.
But it was like, it better be covering all of the armpit area here.
Shoulders are very distracting.
Shoulder is okay, but we can't have anything up here showing.
Collarbone is very distracting to men.
No collarbone, because the middle school boys were going to act up if they saw any collarbone. And of course, no skirts that were anywhere above the knee. It had to be at or below the knee. And having experienced these strict rules just in, my school years, I have no resentment for it. I completely respect that they have the standards that they hold, and I agree with it. So it's only fair that these adult women attending this prestigious art event should, behave in a mature adult fashion and actually dress themselves in the morning before they show up. It's ridiculous.
What they're going to say, they're going to be like, look, art is all about setting yourself free and realizing that there are no real boundaries or something lame like that.
Look, I thought that Cannes was about movies and not Bella Hadid's titties.
It reminded me of
Forgive me if I got the wrong idea.
You got the wrong idea. It reminded me of, there was like 2 different, I think I have the one pulled up. There was like 2 different situations that happened where chess grandmasters were in trouble for not wearing the right attire to their match.
What are they supposed to wear to matches?
I think he had to be wearing like suit pants and he was wearing jeans or something. I saw another one.
No, I need to wear jeans so I can think.
I saw another one about the shoes or something like that. They weren't wearing the right shoes and all that stuff. When you've got all the time preparing for your, like, for instance, in the midst of planning a wedding, I'm going to have to figure out how to tie a tie. I've never had to tie a tie in my entire life.
Yeah, your wedding has a dress code.
Yep.
I plan to respect it.
Yep.
It is what it is. It's about respect not only for the people around you, the people working the event, the other people in your industry attending the event. It's also about respect for yourself. And if you do have a shred of self-respect, you're not going to be going out with your areolas just for the world to see. I don't think that the color of your areolas is something that everyone in the world should know about you.
My biggest pet peeve with most of this is that most of these women are part of an industry that tends to shame the male gaze in the movies that they make, but then when they actually go out on the red carpet, they have the most look at me please outfit you could ever possibly put on. And I find that to be just a bit hypocritical. Their argument that they make is that it's bad for women when they do it in the movies because it's a man who's directing it or it's a man who wrote it. Therefore, she's subjugating herself despite the fact that she's getting paid to do it. And she, you know, capitalistically speaking, entered into a contract to perform said acts and has decided that, you know, if depending on how, you know, how much you believe in the decency, like they're willing to sell their morals for a price. They're paying to go to these red carpets. They're doing it for free.
Well, it's more than a bit hypocritical. It's definitely a huge glaring disconnect there between what is seen as acceptable for women in the movies they star in or the TV shows they star in versus what they wear to promote those TV shows and movies.
It was we talked about that in relation to Madam Web and Dakota Johnson and all of that stuff.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney as well on the red carpet. They're out there with everything showing, and then in the movie, it's a totally different story. But it's not just fair,
Florence Pugh seems to want to make me look at her, even though I want nothing to do with seeing her. She's like, hey, look at me.
Florence Pugh wants the entire world to look at her chest.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's getting to a point where it seems exhibitionist and pervy.
No, see, but I was saying,
it's
but to be
pervy
fair,
to like want everyone to look at you like that. It's like,
to be fair, she does it in the movies too, because it was in Oppenheimer.
Right. Everyone watching Oppenheimer was forced to look at Florence Pugh's titties, and I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be seared into my memory.
In the chat said don't worry, Brett, tying a tie's easy, you'll get it. I said, can you imagine if I showed up on our wedding day with a clip-on tie? Just the dread in Olivia's voice as she in her eyes as she realized that holy crap, what have I gotten myself into?
No, you're better than that. I believe that you're better than that.
I will figure it out.
Now, this is not just a problem with the Cannes Film Festival. This goes for every Hollywood event these days. The Oscars, the VMAs, it doesn't matter what red carpet. You will look at the photos on Getty Images the next day, and women just have their entire body showing, and this was the dominant trend on the red carpet as of last year as well. Yep. I sent you several examples, but we can't even scroll through them because a lot of them aren't YouTube friendly.
I showed the Fanning one.
Yeah, there's, you know, Elle Fanning basically wearing saran wrap at the Met Gala last year.
Yep.
And countless other examples. It's time to put a stop to it. There was also Zoe Kravitz just back in March this year showing up to the Oscars red carpet with butt cleavage. Just, that's the new trend, butt cleavage. Hollywood is obsessed with it. The best thing that could happen from this is that Cannes Film Festival starts a trend. How about the rest of these events start enforcing decency dress codes where we're not forced to look at people showing up naked?
I can't wait for the articles that are going to be written about how this is oppressive towards women and the patriarchy is just reasserting itself.
Don't worry. It's only oppressive when Bianca Censori shows up naked.
Yes.
The rest of the time, it's empowering.
Of course.
I don't know if anyone told you that, but those are the rules.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on then.
We have cringe or cute.
What would you like to see first?
Your decision.
Okay, we'll do cringe
Up
first.
to you.
All right, guys. How would you rate today's? Super bad? Not bad?
Honestly, I enjoyed it, but I'm a little crazy. I don't know.
It says they were terrified. I'm crying. This has something to do with Beyonce.
No, it doesn't.
No, I see Beyonce underneath there. Here we go. It says me and my friend were just trying to vlog our new sunglasses we wanted.
I heard you said something worth $34 was not worth $34, as if you could not afford it. And your assertion that it would not be a commodity you would wear upon your objectified body as a woman. So tell me, price your bodies in this TJ Maxx to me as you view items that you would encapsulate yourself within. As
This has to be fake.
No, it's real.
you smell right now. They won't catch that on camera. They reek, and I regret asking them questions. They look like this. Anything else? presentation you'd like to give for yourselves? I'm okay. Thank you. You're okay? I'm good. You look like a failure. Come on, Sab.
I love the part where she was about to walk away and then just swerves back into the shot.
And then like
anything else?
And then walked backwards out of the shot.
Slowly backing away. Love it.
Wait, all because these girls wanted to put on some sunglasses at TJ Maxx and show off their TJ Maxx haul?
No, what's so funny is that people in the comments were like, you know what? She was right. $34 is not too much for those sunglasses, and she was right.
Wait, who said they? I'm so confused. Who said 34 was too much?
You know what I'm pretty sure this is, sadly? I think that this girl that approached them is probably going through a manic episode and doesn't know her surroundings.
Well, I heard today that Donald Trump is going to put like price controls in place on the pharmaceutical industry. So, you know, maybe
I don't know what that has to do with TJ Maxx.
I just say, well, maybe she will get her meds and she won't be going through a manic episode next time.
Yeah.
Price controls are never a good thing.
No, I would totally become friends with her after that.
That was awful.
I didn't know you were gonna hate it that much.
That was awful.
I kind of thought that she ate with that one.
No, she did not eat.
In
fact, she looks like she needs to eat a little bit. She's really skinny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cute of the day. Amenthi, it's been a while since I first shared a picture of our dog Clark to PCC Pet, so here he is with my cat Eddie.
I can't see
I wasn't sure if I had shown this one before, so I'm re-showing it to you.
Aww.
It's very cute.
They know how to pose for the picture.
They
too.
do. They
Very
do.
photogenic.
Also, you know, not to like set myself up for failure here, but I did, however, give a little bit of justice to Mocha because it was Mocha's birthday the other day, and I reposted it on X. You can find that there.
Well, of course, if you forgot Mocha's birthday, she'd be furious.
Yes. So, all right, let's go ahead. Let's get started.
Tom Cruise is currently promoting Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2. It's a mind-numbingly long title for a movie, of which I'm not a fan.
No, it's called Final Reckoning.
Final Reckoning?
Yes.
It's not Dead Reckoning Part 2.
No, it's
really?
Final Reckoning. Yes.
Really? Okay, well, whatever. He's on the promotion tour for it. He showed up in South Korea, and during this particular press conference, the journalists tried to bait him into saying something negative about Trump's decision to possibly impose tariffs on Hollywood, specifically films that are filmed in other countries than the US.
Yes.
And this isn't even something that has come to fruition. It's weird that the journalists sounded like so confident that they knew this was already in place. It's not, actually. It's not in effect at all. It's just Trump mouthing off on Truth Social as things stand right now. But Tom Cruise was not willing to take the bait. He's smarter than that. He's smarter than most actors, most actresses in Hollywood today, because they would happily jump on the opportunity to talk shit if they were given the chance.
He is the last actual American movie star.
And the funny thing is, he didn't even come up with a media-trained answer for it that was like, well, we're taking all things into consideration, blah, blah, blah. He literally just said to a translator, even though the journalist was speaking English, he said to a translator, we're going to be answering questions about the movie if that's all right.
I think that's a translator, like, translating a question from somebody in the audience. Well, so let's listen to it.
Okay, we'll see.
Here we go.
It's in this clip here, a minute in.
트럼프 대통령 정책에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금합니다.
Actually, I'm going to unfull screen here.
I'd like to ask this question to anyone who's up for it. I think... So I watched the film and I saw that it was filmed in many different locations around the world, including Africa. And of course, we all are aware of the tariffs that President Donald Trump has been imposing on overseas productions and films. So is this particular movie under that tariff? And also, how much of the film was shot overseas?
So here's what Tom Cruise did.
I think that's a fair answer. All right.
What he said was...
We'd rather answer questions about the movie. Thank you. That's it.
It's like he got some type of like super soldier serum from the Hollywood producers on how to do the right thing, and he's the only Captain America left in the Hollywood industry. It seems like that should be unbelievably simple, but it's not. And these posts went viral on X over the weekend with people like, "Wow, an actor not taking a chance to jump into talking about politics," and it seems like that shouldn't be shocking at all. But it is in the current climate because he's actually out right now promoting his movie, doing what he's supposed to be doing. They're releasing featurettes about the stunts in the movie. They're talking about the scenes in the movie.
If there's anywhere that Tom Cruise shines, it's a damn featurette, isn't it?
No, it is.
He freaking loves featurettes.
Well, he is. He's like, look, this is gonna
I'm
be great.
such a hater. I don't even care anymore.
We're gonna watch this one here.
We're going to go 10,000, but if we can get 12,000, we'll go 20 knots forward. What I'd like to do is accelerate the next jump, and I'd like to kind of do it as quickly as possible, the next one, and I'll build up to it, go faster, 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 and put myself into a worst case scenario, and how fast does it take me to recover, which all of these cases are recoverable. Okay, let's put this on. Let's check the frame again. Yeah. How's my hand position?
Your hand position is good. There you go. You can even hold it a little lower there.
Just know I'm going to be like this.
Okay.
My head I'll be like this.
That's better. It gives you a lot more margin for error.
Let's talk about safety. We're going to do the same exit. I'll be in an accelerated spin.
Really, what do we want to see in this frame?
You want to see me falling.
Yes.
And then I throw it. It's like, oh, okay, let's do it, guys.
Yeah. So he's not just doing that. He's going around. They're doing all sorts of stuff relating to that. There was other videos that show it from other angles. We got here. He's literally, if you're listening to the podcast right now,
deaf.
If you're wow, and that's saying something because Mary's headphones are always like way loud.
I'm gonna get tinnitus.
But like if you're just listening to the show right now, Tom Cruise is jumping out of a helicopter with like a mirrorless camera, jerry rigged to his person,
as he's wont to do.
As he's wont to do. Comes down.
See, and then the chicks on Blue Origin get more praise than him.
He's on the next one, I think.
Oh, with Angel Reese?
Yes, I believe he's on that one.
That's so funny.
I was like, we have to start coming up with our way of not hating. Now we're like, actually, since Tom Cruise is on Blue Origin, that's pretty sweet.
So Tom Cruise and Angel Reese are gonna be like floating.
I believe so.
This
Yeah.
is so stupid.
Yeah.
But like, I can't look away.
Here's another one of him. This says Tom Cruise standing on the top of the BFI IMAX theater. He's like, I like that. He's just like, they're like, what do you want to do? He's like, can I just like stand on the top of the building to promote the movie?
I mean, he knows what works. What people want to see is Tom Cruise plummeting through the air, almost dying, and doing crazy stunts, and they don't actually care about his political opinions.
Here's another one. 26-second long clip.
Hi, everyone. On May 22nd, I'm coming to the great state of Texas, and I'll be visiting Fort Sam Houston and San Antonio before stopping by some theaters to see you at some of the first screenings of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Then we're going to fly to Dallas, where I'm going to get some delicious barbecue before going to more theaters to say hello, and I can't wait.
Again, it seems like it should just be common sense, but I don't know if that is. Like, okay, so let's dial this back. So if we went and we got Rachel Zegler, right? And she's like, I'm going to this theater, and then I'm gonna go get barbecue, and then I'm gonna go visit more theaters. What I'd be like, she doesn't eat barbecue, and I bet you Tom Cruise doesn't eat barbecue either. But somehow it's more believable when he does it.
I don't know if it's more believable.
It's more believable.
I mean, it's clear that you know, he has a shtick that he knows works for him when he tries to level with the audience.
But I also believe that he does have a genuine love for the art of filmmaking. So the thing is, like, even if part of it is marketing and the rest of it is real, the real factor, his love for the industry shines through in everything that he does. So even though you and I can talk about how, like, look, an actor, when they're doing their job on the promotional circuit, is going to be telling you exactly what you want to hear, irregardless of whether it has anything to do with their actual personality. They're not being paid to be themselves right then. They're being paid to market a film.
Fair enough. Yes, I agree. However, I would say you can't argue with the results, but Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning didn't do well at the box office.
Unfortunately, that was the other part that I was going to say. Is like, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that this movie is going to make the money it needs to make its money back, because the budget for this is so high. I believe it's almost $400 million.
Unless the idea that this is the final installment is enough to bring people back into theaters to watch it.
I hope so. I mean, I
don't even think people know.
I'm gonna. Well, I do. I do think it's going to do fine. It has competition opening weekend in another market, but I can't remember what it is. I am going to be there opening weekend to go see this film, and I believe that at the very least, if you go look down my X timeline, it's full of people in the YouTube space that are 110% behind this. And if the idea that people have been making is that YouTubers can sink or swim some type of movie, if we're to believe that that is true, that, you know, everybody dunking on Snow White is why Snow White failed, then this should go the opposite direction. And all those YouTubers who take very kindly to what he said here, his decision to stay out of the realm of politics while promoting this movie, the fact that people talk about him as the last great American movie star, should go a long way to making this movie successful. Now, that would also benefit heavily if the movie actually gets great word of mouth, which is up in the air. So Top Gun Maverick made $1 billion, but it made $1 billion by getting people back in the theaters after seeing it once. People went and saw it many times. It had very low drops week to week, whereas the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning had mediocre, maybe like slightly above average to mediocre reviews, and it was really long. And that's the other problem, is that the movie's going to be really long, and it's very easy. Like, if a movie's, I don't remember how long Top Gun Maverick is. I'm going to say full stop. I don't remember. But I know that it felt like I wasn't in the theater for that long, right? But if you're talking about sending me to see Mission Impossible movies that are 2 hours and 51 minutes, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to support the fact that we need more movie stars like Tom Cruise who know how to put out a movie and promote a movie properly through the love of cinema. But for 2 hours and 51 minutes, that's a hard sell. And if I remember correctly, Final Reckoning is almost the same length.
It says Top Gun Maverick has a runtime of 130 minutes.
Okay, so 2 hours and 10 minutes?
It's barely over 2 hours.
That's
not
a
that
way
bad.
easier sell.
But Dead Reckoning was painful to
2 hours and 51 minutes for Dead Reckoning. I believe the new one is similar in length. So, you know, I hope it does well. I want to see this movie be successful. I don't think that even if it doesn't do the best numbers, it doesn't damage his reputation in any way. He's going to remain at the same high stature for the industry. Look, just
because
the other
his
week,
dedication to the craft, as cringe as that sounds, speaks for itself.
See, but that's only cringe if you look. I don't find that cringe. I get it, but I don't find that cringe.
When they call it like my craft, I can't help but find that cringy.
So the other part is like, look, just his name and his word carries a lot of weight. Just recently, he like took a picture outside of Sinners. Like, he went to see Sinners, and that was a very big, and he complimented the movie. And then somebody pointed out that was the first time he had made a non-Mission Impossible related post on X in like years. His word carries a lot of weight. His reputation precedes him, and I think that if he can avoid such a, like, that's a layup. Like, imagine you go to these movie premieres, right? Okay, and they're like, "Oh, we're here to promote Snow White," and then a reporter's like, "What do you think about MS-13 and deportations?" And they're like, "You know what? Snow White wouldn't believe in deportation." Like, this isn't even that. This isn't even like a huge segue.
No.
It had to do with the industry. And he still sidestepped it because he knew that it was bad for the movie.
Right, exactly. Or he's just not genuinely interested in the topic and knows that he's not informed on it. So, like, what?
I don't agree with that. I think he knows everything about it, and he's probably in contact with people.
I mean, he knows. Apparently, the journalist doesn't know this, but Tom Cruise knows that those tariffs are not imposed.
Yeah.
They're just in consideration.
Yeah.
So if he's going to say anything that tilts Trump's opinion one way or another and could have massive effects on his industry, he'd rather just stay silent. That's the smart decision.
I wonder what Trump's opinion on Scientology is. I think Trump thinks about Scientology.
I'm sure that he's has some Scientologist friends, I bet.
Yeah.
Trump is friends with everybody, and I'm certain that he has Scientologist friends.
Yeah. All right. Just take note, actors. This is how you promote your movie, especially when there's hot button political issues that these reporters who don't like you, who probably secretly hate you and want to use you for clicks, this is how you sidestep it and keep the focus on your movie. Take note.
They love the ways they can use you.
Also, guys, if you are interested, I did write an article for the Daily Caller talking about this issue, not the Tom Cruise part, but about the Trump tariffs in Hollywood, and my opinion on what I think he should do. So you can go over there and check that out.
Don't bail out Hollywood for their liberal propaganda.
Yeah,
I like that. Greg Duvier said, "Happy birthday, Mocha. Mocha for Cute of the Day." Well, I didn't see Mocha in Cute of the Day today.
No, and you won't.
That's not fair.
Look, I wished Mocha a happy birthday in person. Asking any more of me is too much.
Pop Culture Junkie said, "Have your phony Rumble imposters given up?"
Apparently there was another one this weekend.
I mean, from what I've seen, I haven't seen the fake account, but we've definitely surpassed the fake account. Nothing to worry about there. Red Snow said, "Shout out to my Bill Burr voice ladies, Deneen and Shayna, good ladies in my life, good mothers. I don't have a mom in my life, but respect to them."
I do love
happy Mother's Day.
I do love the old Bill Burr bit about motherhood not being the hardest job. It's like, I would have thought roofing in July is a redhead. And he talks about, he's like, lift with your knees and put the laundry in the big machine that does it for you.
Bill Burr's not funny.
He was funny before.
He's super cringy.
I haven't listened to him in a very long
I
time.
think he's always been cringe. I never thought he was funny.
Let's hold off on the rest, and we will come back.
All right. Selena Gomez, back in 2021, started a mental health company called Wondermind, which is currently financially imploding in a massive scandal where they weren't able to pay their own employees last month. She has completely ditched it, and she is refusing to provide comment. But Forbes put out a report on the situation, having interviewed multiple current employees who preferred to remain anonymous. As it stands, Selena Gomez's mother is the working CEO of this company, but Selena is nowhere to be found in the midst of all of this financial distress, despite the fact that she is a billionaire. She's not there to bail out her own company that she started out of a passion project. And my ultimate point here, before we get into it, is just that the mental health cottage industry is a giant steaming pile of horse shit, and everyone knows it. All of it is a money laundering scheme. This was only basically a slush fund for venture capital firms to enrich the people who started and, in real time ran this company. It had nothing to do with advocating for mental health or actually helping anyone. That goes for the vast majority of nonprofits, not just this one. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
But when you donate to Pop Culture Crisis, you're making an actual difference in the world. And helping the suffering Gonganese people. Hashtag save the Gongo.
Exactly.
Aside from that, aside from the efforts of PCCAID, May happens to be Mental Health Awareness Month. So I feel like it's perfect that we are covering this topic during Mental Health Awareness Month. You should be more aware of the ways that people use mental health as a tool to scam people. Not saying that they planned this out as a scam in the first place, but over time, it seems to have become a giant front for money laundering. That's my opinion. Don't sue me, please. So back in 2021, this was co-founded by Selena Gomez, singer, actor, business mogul. In the midst of a crisis after apparently running out of cash and failing to pay its employees, vendors, and freelancers, they have started to implode as of late March. And this was alongside her mom, Mandy Teefey, as well as a former CEO, Daniela Pearson. They say they aim to provide a safe space for its community and team, going beyond just their brand. Selena Gomez, who serves as the co-founder and, I kid you not, Chief Impact Officer.
Yep, that's a real job.
Often shares her personal experiences and insights on mental health to help destigmatize the topic and offer support to those struggling with loneliness, social anxiety, and other mental health issues. I want to show one of the videos of Selena Gomez talking about how she found freedom in sharing her mental health journey. This is from the Wondermind Instagram account.
Me personally, for years, I tend to isolate. And there are moments, of course, where you need to be on your own and feel things. But for years, I would just block as much. I didn't accept help. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. And I found complete freedom in sharing everything I've been walking through, because
that sounds dangerously culty to me.
Yeah.
I know that other people feel that way too.
Wait.
And I hope no one ever looks at me and thinks, oh, her life is perfect, because that's just simply not true. I'm very grateful and I have a very blessed life. But we're all humans and feelings are very real, and I think it definitely needs to be talked about, and we need to educate people more about it.
Okay, so I'm of two minds. One is that when you're a celebrity, if you want to go down the discussing mental health path, you're at a disadvantage because people are automatically going to assume that your life is better than theirs because you theoretically have more money than them. So if you're really passionate about it and you want to get your message out there, you're already at a disadvantage. More people tend to enjoy this type of content from people who would come across as more relatable. So I used to talk a fair amount when I would do certain segments on my Instagram talking about my own issues with mental health, but not extrapolating out towards the rest of the population. It was more like I was putting out skating content every day and talking about how that was affecting me mentally. This was during COVID, so the world was very, very different at that time. And that was with no purpose other than to just kind of share what was going on in my life. But the second you attach like an an organization to it, you're getting into territory that's way harder to do without people feeling like it's a huge scam, even if you have the best of intentions. And it's not like I'm going to give any celebrity like the benefit of the doubt that they have the best of intentions.
Right. It's one thing if you as an individual feel that you're comfortable sharing about your mental health online. I think there are plenty of reasons to caution against that. And people forget that when you put content out there for other people to consume, it may reach audiences it was not intended for, and it will be out there forever. I think that people have become too open about mental health in general, to the point where it gets to a toxic, self-destructive level. But it is entirely another thing when you launch a company aiming to make an exorbitant amount of money off of encouraging people to be authentic and let it all out. And I'm not kidding, that's their slogan on the website for Wondermind. Wondermind is our space to let it all out. Through the years, we've each had our own mental health struggles. One day, we were all talking about it and realized there was no easy, inclusive space where people could come together to explore, discuss, and navigate their feelings. So we thought, why not make it happen? And Wondermind was born. And here listed is Mandy Teefee, Selena Gomez's mother, as the co-founder and CEO. Selena Gomez is listed as the Chief Impact Officer. They say that she is an outspoken proponent of many social issues and unafraid to question the status quo. She works closely with the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which seeks to end dangerous misinformation online.
Okay, I just want to interject. You know, I'm not exactly corporate boardroom material, so I wanted to look up what the hell a chief impact officer was.
Oh, really?
As a senior executive role responsible for integrating social and environmental impact into an organization's strategy and operations. So I guess it's like, yeah, hey, look, we can care about mental health, but we're not going to ruin the environment while doing it. Okay, we're going to...
Well, I think they just had to come up with a title, and that sounded nice.
No, I'm assuming this is more to do with the social impact part of it.
Right. So to let you in on the current crisis they're going through financially behind the scenes, Forbes reports that they employ around 15 people to publish articles, interviews, and podcasts about mental health topics. And it's being kept afloat by Selena Gomez's mother and Wondermind CEO Mandy Teefee, who told employees on Thursday that she took out a loan against her own home to pay back outstanding debts. It is believed among the employees that Wondermind currently owes tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to freelancers and vendors who have not been paid yet.
Yeah.
A spokesperson for Wondermind says the company has rectified the situation and that everyone who is owed money will receive it on Monday. That is today. So I don't know if they ended up fixing anything.
Know? Do we have a follow-up?
Like many startups, they say Wondermind has been working through its own set of growing pains. And in the coming days, we'll be transitioning to a new chapter for Wondermind and continuing our important work in mental fitness that helps hundreds of thousands of people. Mandy Teefee declined to comment, as did Selena Gomez. But what they reported is that basically the CEO, Selena Gomez's mother, is hiding business information from employees to string them along without giving them the pay that they have earned. And she is talking about, payments they were supposed to get from investors that weren't paid on time, and it's just a little hiccup with legal. She's coming up with all of these different excuses, and it's giving Elizabeth Holmes vibes. And as for Selena Gomez and her involvement, or rather her lack of involvement in Wondermind, they say Selena does not have an active role. She's listed as the Chief Impact Officer on the company website, but according to an employee, we have to fight with her agent to get her to do anything for us, and she rarely does. And by do anything, I mean post something on Instagram or interview her for an article so it does good traffic.
I saw this. Just imagine what LinkedIn professional wants to read articles like expert opinion, chief impact officers are disruptors.
Oh my gosh, gag me with a spoon.
Continue.
The employee noted that Selena Gomez met with staff only one time in a span of 3 years that this company has existed.
How is this possible? I watched a video where Selena Gomez cried because people were being deported. She clearly cares about other people.
So caring. A company spokesperson, however, insisted that these claims are absolutely not true and says that Selena Gomez's involvement speaks for itself. But then at the end of this piece from Forbes, an employee says that until recently they felt secure knowing Selena Gomez was the co-founder, but it seems like her involvement is minimal to non-existent at this point, or we probably wouldn't be here. Because she could easily use her billion fortune to bail out whatever financial crisis this company is in.
Look, her billion fortune is not in liquid capital. Her billion-dollar fortune is stock evaluation.
That's not the point.
Beyond just the financial realms, though, being more involved as the face of it could do wonders to help bail it out.
But all she wanted out of this, as goes for most quote-unquote mental health advocates, was a way to virtue signal. Yep. That was the entire point of starting this stupid company in the first place. There was never an intention to follow through on it, to make an actual difference. It was all intended to be basically a PR move for Selena Gomez. And I'm not even just singling her out. There are plenty of other celebrities who do similar gestures at advocacy and activism, and
Starting
none of
a
it means
discussion.
anything. Starting a conversation.
We're starting a conversation.
Destigmatizing this or that. It's never anything but an exercise in narcissism. Now, one of her fan accounts on Twitter says Forbes suspiciously posted this article 7 times in one day, and that the comments are full of Justin Bieber fan accounts, making it obvious that it's, quote, another paid smear campaign against Selena Gomez. I don't know what to say. Their sources were reliably current employees at the company saying that they're in the middle of a crisis and that Selena Gomez is nowhere to be found. So this doesn't really sound like a smear campaign to me. There are no, reasons to think that Forbes is just coming up with this story out of thin air. It sounds completely true and completely in line with the pattern of behavior from celebrities who want to go the route of being a slashy. They don't want to just be a singer or an actress. They want to be a founder and an entrepreneur.
Activist.
And an author and an activist and an advocate. And you could go down the line, and a masseuse, whatever. They cannot stand the idea of just being relegated to what they're good at, which is acting and singing. They have to be someone who's making an impact. And then you look into this impact they're supposedly making on the world, and it's something as pathetic as this, a startup that cannot even pay its own employees and is lying to the media about it.
Yep. All right, let's go Super Chats.
Weary Traveler said, "Happy Monday, Gooners." I feel accused.
That was very rude.
I'm not a gooner, please.
That was very rude.
Pop Culture Junkie said, "It's amazing the amount of word salad, indecipherable finance speak gets blurted out on earnings calls. Oddly enough, the worst offenders are entertainment/communications companies. Disney is the worst."
Yeah.
I mean, we just looked through a bunch of word salad from the Selena Gomez startup.
I mean,
it's all the same.
Any corporate approved press release is full of word vomit that doesn't actually mean anything.
Greg
Mary
Duvier.
understands that whenever we have to read something like that, I immediately start rolling my eyes when they start with their weird language that doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Greg Duvier said, "Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Wife wanted to see the live-action Lion King because it was her favorite Disney movie as a kid. Also, she loves lions."
Okay, then. Well,
Good
that
for
makes
her.
sense.
I just don't get the appeal at all. I also I didn't grow up with Lion King.
Yeah.
Is that like a 90s kid thing? Because I never watched it as a kid. I never cared.
I got the
I don't think I've seen it to this day.
I got the soundtrack for Christmas one year, and then I got the VHS as well.
Is it Celine Dion?
No.
Am I wrong? Celine Dion didn't have a song on it?
If she
Wait.
did, I don't remember that particular one. I just remember I Just Can't Wait to Be King. And Elton John.
Let me see. No, she did Beauty and the Beast.
There you go.
Yeah, I had it mixed up. I still haven't seen that one either, and I've been meaning to.
Elton John did what? Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And I Just Can't Wait to Be King.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. Or he didn't do I Just Can't Wait to Be King. I don't remember who did that one. But I like that soundtrack.
Yoshima Otaru said Unsolved Mysteries actually solved some cases.
I still see like
What
posters.
about the Lore Lodge? They've solved some things.
There you go. We need to have him back soon.
What were you saying?
I forgot. Let's move on.
Oh,
It was
okay.
probably nothing important.
Weary Traveler said Ariola's out for Harambe. No. Nothing out for Harambe. Like, R.I.P. and everything to that gorilla, but no, I don't want to see
Anything out
for him.
All right.
Please.
Let's hold off. We've got more.
I don't know how to preface this without sounding like I'm fear-mongering, but I'm just going to provide you with the truth. And the truth is that in every major city in the U.S., there is an underground network of single women sharing information about the men that they meet from dating apps like Hinge or Tinder or Bumble. And they are using Facebook groups as well as an actual app to share information about these men. How attractive are they compared to their photos? Are they good or bad in bed? Are they clingy? Are they creepy? Not really to share warnings in case a man is dangerous. This is about red flags. Is he someone that they have deemed dateable, or is he unsuited for marriage? And as you can probably already tell, this has spiraled into a very toxic place. So there is an actual app called Are We Dating the Same Guy? And you have networks of women in each city talking amongst themselves about the single men that they have gone on dates with and sharing basically their Yelp reviews. Think of this man as a product or a restaurant that they've visited, and they are giving him ratings. So, you know, cautioning other women against dating this guy, and I guess if they had anything nice to say about him, they would have continued dating him. So most of the time it's negative.
For this, the women should have to then write like a 1-paragraph character assessment of themselves so that the women...
That's only fair.
So that the women can judge whether they believe that woman to be a reliable narrator.
Even on Uber, the driver gets to rate you too. That's only fair.
There you go.
So I was reminded of this app existing because of a Reddit post that was on X the other day. They say there is a doxing stalking network in every major city in the US called Are We Dating the Same Guy, where women post men after bad dates, make up rumors after breakups, and so on. Literally a heterosexual dark age. And this woman is talking about how her younger brother got exposed on this Facebook group. He was posted with to a group of 110,000 members. Just a screenshot of his Hinge profile. And the caption was, "Anyone talk to this guy? They're trying to crowdsource opinions on him. To give you an idea, my brother is pretty douchey looking, but he's genuinely a cool guy who treats women respectfully."
What the...
She's being objective.
I don't care. Bro, family
there
first.
There are 150 plus comments. About 4 are actually from women saying they have met him or gone on a date. The rest are insane, wild speculation. Commenters deciding he must be a serial cheater based on his appearance. A few saying he's probably gay. My brother sometimes works weekends, and one of the top comments said, "I matched with him, but I noticed he's slow to respond on weekends. It's pretty clear he's hiding something." Many comments.
Maybe he's got a job, huh? Maybe he works.
That's a good thing.
Maybe he's got to make money so that he can buy stupid clothes to impress women like you.
Gleefully critiquing his appearance, everything about him heavily scrutinized and mocked. Facial features to his fashion sense, his beard, and everything in between. It was surprising to see, since women usually seem to think he's handsome IRL. Well, a forum like this for women to crowdsource opinions is inevitably going to nosedive into this type of toxic gossip and insults, and just not even gossip from any personal experience with the man, but what they believe him to represent. And it reminded me of the gigantic scandal that took place in 2022 about West Elm Caleb. There was this guy in New York City who was going on tons of dating app dates with women, and he would woo them on the date and be super charming and suddenly ghost them shortly after the fact. And all of these women started finding each other by making TikTok story times about West Elm Caleb. And they all found out they were dating and getting ghosted by the same guy. He was dragged, people found out who he was, and he was essentially made into the mascot for fuckboys and douchebags everywhere.
Maybe y'all just weren't that interesting.
But it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's wrong to ghost someone.
Yes.
It's wrong to, use someone for sex, whatever. But you know what? It's also wrong to dox someone's personal information and start an actual witch hunt around this individual because he reminds you of your ex-boyfriend. I don't even know what could possibly justify this behavior, but it should be illegal. Are We Dating the Same Guy is surprisingly still in operation. It says on its website, a place for women to protect, support, and empower each other. Join a safety support community of over 6 million women worldwide We help women navigate the dating landscape by providing resources, real experiences, and a strong community that looks out for one another.
Remember that corporo speak I was talking about earlier? All of that was just in that whole description of the app.
So they claim that Are We Dating the Same Guy is more than just a community. It is a movement dedicated to protecting women in today's dating landscape. So they're telling you this app's purpose is to help women avoid dangerous situations with criminally violent, predatory men. That is not the purpose of this app at all.
To gossip.
The purpose of the app is gossip.
And character assassination.
Yes, exactly.
It's what women love more than anything.
It is one of their tried and true
at least
tools for social control.
Not
this is
women, but
biologically
this type of woman,
No,
a certain type of woman.
No, it's all women. It's all women. I'm telling you as someone from experience that we are biologically wired to gossip. It is a protection mechanism. It is a form of social cohesion amongst women to not only spread secrets as a form of social currency, but also to weaponize them when deemed necessary.
I saw this video.
To shun in terms of punishing someone's behavior socially.
I saw a skit over the weekend. It was like me when I tried to gossip with my husband, and she he gives her this information. She starts asking him questions. He's like, I don't know.
Usually
he's like, it's literally like, I don't know. I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, that's literally me about everything. Like, everything. It's like, what happened? Yeah, I don't know.
Men's brains just don't work the same way.
Sorry, my brain is small enough as it is. It does not need to be weighed down by extraneous information that I do not need nor care about.
So aside from Are We Dating the Same Guy, I ended up in a rabbit hole about its predecessor, a now defunct app called Lulu. This person replied to the viral tweet saying, there used to be an app built on top of Facebook called Lulu, where women would leave reviews and ratings of men they went on dates with. It was filled with similar stuff. And this was where you could rate guys. It could be done based on if they're cheap, if they're good or bad in bed, if they're funny. It was designed to, quote unquote, make online dating safer for women, since Tinder and Bumble had just come out at the time. This was around 2013, 2014. They were then purchased and shut down in 2016. So Lulu no longer exists, but Are We Dating the Same Guy is basically the same business model. And it went wrong in the same exact way. And then a guy retaliated by releasing a version for men called Chicklopedia, where men rated women, and all of the girls freaked out and made a huge PR issue out of it, to such an extent that Facebook banned Chicklopedia.
So men can't rate women, but women can gossip about men. It's
Funny.
like when
Funny how that
women,
works.
it's like women wanting the height thing on a social media app, but a guy asks for your weight and
Everything loses their
Ooh,
minds. We have
there's
a
a
20 from Shane H. Wilder. My brother may look douchey, but he's a nice guy, is giving. He may have advanced delusionary schizophrenic with involuntary narcissistic rage, but he is a very gentle person. This app is cringe, and as a man, we would never. Well, you did! Chicklopedia happened. It just got banned. So I believe that if Facebook hadn't shut it down, it would still exist today. I just wanted to show this throwback from 11 years ago around the pre-launch of Chicklopedia.
This is Chicklopedia, the first guys-only app that allows you to view, rate, and review women. The first step is logging in with Facebook, but don't worry, it's anonymous and will never post anything to your wall. Scroll through the girls in your life and choose the one you like. You'll be able to see everything about her, from her best and worst features to her rating on anything you might be interested in, from her sense of humor to her performance in the bedroom. If you want to rate her, say how you know her, then rate how she performs across 15 different categories. Maybe she snores or has big feet. Leave a hashtag here. You can also recommend her to a friend if you think he'd like her instead.
Yup.
If you want to see how
this is why we can't solve world hunger or fix any of our actual problems in society.
she compares in your college, state, or even nationally, then you'll be able to see her ranking on leaderboards for every single trade. But Chicklopedia is much more than just a simple rating app. It's also a way to manage your social life. You'll be able to see the rating of all the upcoming events in your life. See what the hottest events are this Friday. then check out the girls attending.
72% chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And even see how much competition there is, so you can choose more wisely.
Okay. All right.
This was a real thing.
All right.
Until Facebook put a stop to it. And I admit it's a petty clapback to Lulu at the time, but only fair. It's only guys playing the same game that the women were playing with their own version. And it's unfair that this one got shut down and Lulu was allowed to thrive.
I can't.
And now we still have a new version of it that is in operation today. It is psychotic. Clearly, you look at this video from 11 years ago. That is ancient history in internet years.
Yep.
It didn't get any better. We've only gone downhill from this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, at the time, dating apps were this new, fun thing. It had its own charm and novelty to it. People are unequivocally fatigued with dating app culture at this point. And I think that people should be ready by now to admit that this isn't working. Like, whatever we're doing here, gamifying the dating world, it's not working.
Yep.
Putting people on basically like a baseball card of stats instead of treating them like a nuanced human being, it's not working. None of this is working.
Imagine
commodifying people, rating them like it's an Amazon review of a product. It's not working.
The imagine, you know, the men and women who actually are like really, really good with people, have great in-person charisma, who then have to be boiled down to a scorecard where none of their actual ability to interact with the world kind of shines through.
Yeah.
And all of this plays on the worst aspects of like whatever your neuroses are, whatever your aversions are, or the things that you think about now due to trauma in your life because of the opposite sex. All of that is just magnified to 1,000 on stuff like this. And it's, in a lot of ways, I think, very anti-human.
It is.
It's anti-human experience at the very least. And it's a bad thing for society, all of it.
Yeah, I think that it's self-evident. You can deny it all you want, but it's self-evident that the dating app algorithm is dehumanizing to everyone involved, and everyone feels demoralized by this state of affairs. And they even make jokes on the dating apps about, you know, this is the story of how we met. We can just lie to people and say that we met in person. No one likes the idea of meeting through these avenues.
Yeah.
But it's not making anything better by essentially making people feel like they're about to get targeted and personally witch hunted by their entire town.
Well,
for what? For not being funny enough, for having bad breath, anything.
You and Phil have had back and forth before about the risks of approaching women in public, right? And like men...
Literally, you can tell by now, there is less risk in actually just approaching a woman in real life than putting yourself on a dating app for people to go screenshot your profile, spread it to hundreds of thousands of people, and crowdsource information about you, and crowdsource opinions and gossip about your life.
My point was more that you're going to lose either way. That it's a lose-lose situation.
Yes, the modern dating world is a hellscape. There's no way around that. We can't deny that. But there are ways to mitigate the damage. And I honestly
have money, gentlemen.
I honestly think that dating apps and the entire ecosystem of gossip and backstabbing and lies that surround these dating apps, as you can tell, is not the way to go. Whatever we're doing with all of this, it's not working. You would probably be better off by stepping back and doing things something closer to the old-fashioned way. Yeah. That's just my opinion. But clap back at me and try to debate me if you want. I'm open to the discussion.
All right, men, have money and be handsome. That's what you need to do.
I mean, you should just do those things because it makes your life better. Not really because it attracts women. You should do those things because it's for you.
Exactly.
You know?
All right.
Red Snow said, am I wrong in that we like looking at sleuths but don't want our women to be looking like sleuths? Get it's hypocritical, but being modest can still be hot. Bella Hadid doesn't have enough teat to think about. Well, I mean, fair enough. But how do you feel about that, Brett? Do you relate?
I think that women in Hollywood don't live the lives of your average everyday person, so it's kind of like when we talk about sex scenes in Hollywood, and it's like, yes, to a normal person, seeing your wife or your significant other simulate sexual intercourse with another person is weird.
Yeah.
But to them, they're like, well, it's Tuesday.
Well,
it was for the art. That's what they said.
I think what Red Snow, what he might have is something called a Madonna whore complex. Because if you're only able to see a woman as sexual or not sexual on a binary scale like that.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah. Adam said men are gentlemen and women are what? Ladies? I don't know. Gentle women? Gentle days? Shane H. Wilder said Brett doesn't know how to tie a tie. For shame, good sir. What knot you going to learn? Windsor, cross knot, or are you just going to learn to tie a bow tie?
Well, I'm not.
So you don't know?
I've never tied a tie in my life. I've never had to.
Wow.
So
you've never worn one?
Never worn one.
In all your years on this planet. Wow.
Never had to wear a tie. I feel like that's an accomplishment. Like I've done this. I've navigated through life.
I don't know if
without having to put myself in that position. But I'll figure it out. I'll YouTube it. That's what I'll do.
That's what it's for.
That's what I'll figure.
There are whole channels dedicated to stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that was like kind of like one of the things about YouTube in the beginning. It was like, what's the channel like? The guy who teaches like kids who never had dads how to like change a car tire or do stuff like that.
Here's a great thing. My older brother got in trouble at school once. This is when we went to the same school. Mm. And it wasn't really detention, but it was detention. And they showed up, and it was him and this other kid who got in trouble. Okay. And they just had to learn how to tie a tie that day. Like, that was their task for detention.
I kind of appreciate it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I always think back on that.
Useful skill.
That's such a good use of their time, not just sitting there in silence.
It's not Bart Simpson being forced to write something on the blackboard 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It's
productive.
I mean, like, actually, that'd be a great thing. Like, you're the school resource counselor, and they're like, come up with like 100 useful tasks that could be learned in a classroom.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Perfect.
How to tie a tourniquet.
Sure.
Like a really tight tourniquet.
Yeah.
There you go.
CPR. Red Snow said, pretty sure butt cleavage is saving the gongo.
I'll
really?
ask. I have no idea. We do have two Rumble rants, both from the local Wendigo, who says, hello, pierogi. It says, hello, pierogi boy. I'm assuming that's me, because I'm the boy here. And also, go eat a pierogi, you stinky. I'm not doing either of those things. I'm not a pierogi, and I'm not going to eat a pierogi.
See, you're just poisoning him more against the pierogies.
You'll never make me.
Counterproductive. We've been around this road once before. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm scripting a sequel to the PCC movie trailer I made in 2023, the one where Brett says, take that, you whores. It will be Brett battling Mary, the queen of cringe. Today's cringe of the day is why I am the queen of cringe.
Yeah.
You did say that.
I did. Take that, you whores.
No, it's you whores.
Whores?
Who is AI Shih Tzu said Tim is right. I see Pedro Pascal too often. When Richard Dean Anderson was everywhere and one could watch MASH reruns all day, we were a proper country. Is he cast in too many things? I just saw him in the trailer for Materialists with Dakota Johnson.
He's in everything.
I am interested in that one though.
That sounds up your alley.
I don't know why. Is it a rom-com or is it something
I mean, it's like, it sounds like
else?
We used to joke about Dakota Johnson making the art house films. What's it about? I don't even know what it's about.
Am I an art house film person?
I mean, I feel, okay, well, no, but I feel like the hit rate of you liking a movie would be higher amongst art house stuff than it would be amongst traditional Hollywood slop.
You're right. I hate to say it, but it's true.
You're an elitist. We get it. We get it.
Pop Culture Junkie said, I never met Cruise, but a number of critic friends think he was the most junket-friendly star they ever interviewed. He remembered their names from film to film and gave perfect soundbite length answers.
Yeah, see, like...
he's an expert at this.
I've mentioned before when Chris Van Vliet gave the interview, did the interview with AJ Styles, and he talked about he didn't always just do wrestling stuff. He was an entertainment reporter, and he would talk about being on the press junket interviewing Tom Cruise, and it's like nobody in the world exists but you. And he gives just the right length of answers, and
it's a Scientology thing, though.
It's
a Scientology thing. It's something that they train them to do when they're convincing someone to come visit the Church of Scientology. You have to make them feel really special, make intense eye contact, and then they'll be like, yes, like I pledge my life to, what is their God?
It's one of the reasons why Ian would be such a great cult leader if he wanted to be, because Ian can talk to you and make you feel like nobody else in the world exists but you. You should hope that your spouse or significant other can look at you the way Ian will look at you the first day he meets you.
If Ian told me that he had a stint as a Scientologist or that he dated a Scientologist at one point, I would be completely unfazed. I'd be like, that makes perfect sense. But he's just a little too unpredictable for them.
Yep.
Weary Traveler said shoulders out for the gongo.
Is that an acceptable thing to have out for the gongo?
I guess so.
Shoulders?
Shoulders are acceptable,
okay.
Definitely. Red Snow said, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
This is not a wrestling podcast. Though I did listen to all of the reviews for WrestleMania Backlash over the weekend.
There's Backlash.
It's the name of the pay-per-view. It's called Backlash. Seemed all right. I kind of feel bad that as good as they said the John Cena Randy Orton match was, it was because the match was overbooked just the right amount and evoked a very 90s feel and was taking place in Randy Orton's hometown, and that otherwise the rest of the show was kind of a dud.
Red Snow said, a crisis in pop culture. Wish we had a podcast on it.
That would be a good thing.
Yeah, why has no one thought of this yet?
We should create that.
There is a crisis going on in pop culture, and I feel like nobody is talking about it.
We need to start a podcast.
The Manic Mustache sent us a 20. Late as usual, but apropos to motherhood, as former redheaded roofer in the sunny San Joaquin Valley, I would like to give a belated Happy Mother's Day to Mother Mustache and all the mothers of our crisis actors. Stay toxic, my friends. Yes, I echo this statement.
I hope if you are a mother and you are in the chat and you watch this show, I hope you had a fantastic Mother's Day.
Was that a repeat or were they different
Looks
messages?
Like it was a repeat. He's deleting it.
Okay, I don't know which one of those you intended for me to read, but it's too late now. Thank you anyway. Shane H. Wilder said, whatever happened to suffering in silence or talking to your family or a priest? I guess grifting is easier or at least more lucrative. Yeah, I think sharing
what was
about
that in relation to?
Selena Gomez talking about finding freedom and like sharing her mental health journey. It's just it's not helping anyone to share your mental health struggles online. It's just not. It's not helping you. It's not helping anybody else. And you know what? Even if it were helping other people, it still wouldn't be worth it because it's hurting you to project that to a huge audience. You know, I guess she feels that it might be her calling because she already has a large following and a platform built in.
Yeah.
But this is encouraging normal, ordinary people to do the same, and even children to, you know, mimic this behavior online and talk about, you know, their medications that they take and the, you know, the new self-diagnosis that's trending.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
But it is all connected. It really is.
Yeah.
A big, giant racket. Thank you.
The amount of people who get offended when you find out that they self-diagnose their autism, and you're like, okay, but really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, there's also a TLC show about a girl who has Tourette's, because that's just the only thing that's interesting about her is that she has Tourette's, and we're going to celebrate that. Whatever.
Sad.
Omega Red Fan said, I remember leaving the movie theater lobby after seeing Lion King 1994. That's my memory at work.
Okay.
Wow, it must have been a good time for movies.
I remember getting the soundtrack on cassette tape. I remember having the movie at home. I don't remember if I went to the theater to see it.
I don't know. Red Snow said, I feel Disney got extra attention post the 90s because of the Kingdom Hearts series, but that's just me.
I think Disney got.
Was it really that popular?
I don't think so. But
Kingdom Hearts thing?
I feel like Disney was popular because of the animated movies and the Disney Channel.
For me, it was always Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Like, I watched Disney Channel and Nickelodeon almost equally growing up. I never watched any of the old stuff.
Yeah.
Never watched any of the princess movies. I still haven't to this day. But the Disney Channel original movies and TV shows, like the High School Musicals, the Princess Protection Program.
I don't even know what that is.
All of them. You know?
That's very clearly not in my wheelhouse.
What else? Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Objectively one of the greatest children's shows ever. They made good stuff. They just fell off. No Control said female version of For a Good Time Call. What?
Okay, so like if somebody, I'm assuming what he means is like if you go on a bad date, you put in the bathroom For a Good Time Call, and then you put that person's phone number there to fuck with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is it worse than the rejection hotline?
I feel like the rejection hotline only affects you once, whereas putting your phone number on public property is kind of diabolical.
Adam said, purpose good, but women turned it to ... No, I don't even know if the purpose was good. The purpose was never really necessary. If there is a criminal in your local dating scene, file a police report and make sure that they get, locked behind bars or get a restraining order. You don't need an app for that. You don't need an app for everything. Everyone just wants an app for everything now. Shane H. Wilder, Red Snow said, can y'all put all the cringe together just because it's a segment doesn't make it less cringe? I nearly died Friday from the millennial cringe thing. I feel like cringe is just a mainstay on this show, and it's going to keep reappearing every episode in one form or another.
For 1 week, I put all the cringes together into a segment, and the video didn't do very well, so we didn't go back to that format.
Yeah, I feel like if we spent more time with that, it would be different, but no. Antimus said, this doesn't work for conventional dating, but there's enough intergender animosity to keep burn pages operational. What is a burn page? What is that?
Dunno.
Is this something from...
Is that something similar?
Your time period?
I've never had to use anything like that, so I have no idea.
Red Snow said, slightly offended. I only meant men like to look at women who dress proactively? I think you mean provocatively. But wouldn't want their woman to dress the same, and it's hypocritical. I don't think that my point is refuted here. I think that you might have a little bit of a complex, dude. Because if you're holding one woman that you're with to a completely different standard.
They mean like the burn book in Mean Girls.
Oh, well, if it's physical.
Yeah.
And you don't photocopy it and spread it everywhere, then it's at least self-contained. I think that you should hold the woman that you're in a relationship with to a standard that is the same as all women, because that's the only thing that makes sense. It's like just logical to me. DCNC said, gonna wear a tie to your wedding, Dasevich?
Yes I am.
Well, it's not going to be a clip-on, right?
Not going to be a clip-on.
Right,
like I said, can you imagine I show up that day and she's just like, I'm about to spend the rest of my life with this man, and then I come in with a clip-on tie and you're like, oh, fuck.
Adam said, are you guys watching the new Conjuring movie?
No.
I haven't seen any of them.
No, I don't care.
I get scared easily by that type of thing. I don't plan on it. Red Snow said, how many RKOs has Mary hit you with, bread?
Look, I always counter the RKO when she tries to drop it out of nowhere. She never succeeds, ever.
Shane H. Wilder said, there is a channel that shows how to tie fancy knots, like the Eldritch knot. Look it up. Also, the knot for a bow tie is the same one for your shoes.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, I will watch, like, those are easily some of the things that I get stuck watching on YouTube Shorts, which is like really, really complex knot tying, like, in the wild.
You watch that for fun?
Yes. And I'm just like, well, to me,
men are so funny to
I
me.
watch stuff like that, and I'm just like, God, like, these, like, because, you know, it's people performing some type of useful skill.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's just like, we live in a golden era where if you have a unique, useful skill set and a modicum of like screen presence, you can make a pretty good side hustle out of like showing people,
if not main hustle,
how to do things online. I love I love woodworking videos, cutting unique angles for flooring, things like that, because I'm horrible at math. So I watching them, they're doing all of the math calculations. I'm like, duh, I wouldn't be able to do that. I love it. I love that stuff.
Can't relate.
Firearms manufacturing. I was watching a bunch of videos recently about how to zero out your red dot and
what?
Like set up the sights on like a gun.
Oh, yeah. I see. The Manic Mustache said motherhood might not have be the hardest job. Spelling is the hardest job. Grammar is the hardest job. But it is definitely the most important. Stay toxic, my friends.
It is the most important.
Weary Traveler said, #1 pierogi hater.
Yes, that's me.
You can't.
I do it for free.
You can't hate it.
I do it for the love of the game. Like other people.
If I made you,
other people,
wait, Brett, if I made you pierogies, would you be such a dick to not even eat them?
No, I would eat them, but then I'd say
you would eat them?
I would kindly say,
but you would pretend
you
that you hated it.
I'd say, but you can't tell anyone that I'm eating it.
Oh, it would have to be a secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I guess if Brett ever does try,
you'll never know.
You're never gonna know.
Like I said, other people, they get paid for their anti-pierogi propaganda. Not me. I hate pierogies purely for the love of the game.
Cold Leftovers said the can rule change is definitely just to appease the massive Muslim population in France. You can't convince me otherwise. That's interesting. That
I mean, don't
theory,
French women just get naked and protest like all the time?
Yeah, they
like,
do that all
it's
the time.
a Wednesday in the world, and somebody in France just says
like,
woman the wrong way, and they're like, "Huh!"
Yeah, the tops just disintegrate.
And men everywhere are like, "Oh no, the women are protesting again."
Well, they're usually not very attractive women,
yeah.
So
yeah.
there's that. But I don't think it has to do with the Muslim population, because this is a private event, you know? Like, it's not like they're out in public with a bunch of passersby, but it could be.
Griffin Street in the chat says pierogies are my favorite food item. I don't believe that.
I believe that. They're really good.
I don't believe that there's a person on this earth
it's literally cheese and potato.
Ask their favorite food and they're like pierogies.
It's cheese and potato.
That's not a thing.
Okay, whatever. If you like cheese fries, you literally like pierogies in a different shape. You like drunken fries. It's just cheese and fries, right?
Yep.
Cheese and potato, pierogi, cheese and potato. That's what it is. Same thing, different shape. Okay.
My goodness. This is just insane.
Rapscallion said, saw Sinners last night. 9 out of 10 would recommend. I loved the soundtrack, blues and Irish folk songs. The originality and plot build-up are admirable.
Well, we do, well, I mean, I don't care if we get originality in Hollywood, but everybody else does. So, you know, by their own standards, they need to, and when they're going to make the sequels, they better at least learn to make them on their own without getting tax breaks from the federal government.
Well, I guess the people, you know, saying that we need less slop and more original content actually backed up their words with actions this time, and that's a good sign. DCNC said, I spend hours watching those reels about building primitive huts and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Men are just using an entirely different internet.
Yeah. I mean, on most Mondays, me and Mary come in and we trade notes on what we should cover, and
I'm like, so they're bringing back Project Runway, and you're like,
Tom Cruise is jumping out of airplanes again.
I'm like, oh, I didn't hear about that at all.
There are a lot of times where I think about not sending a story to Mary or to myself, and then I always do, because there's always the possibility that just she won't see it, because we live in vastly different corners of the internet.
That happens at least half the time, if not more. Yep. Red Snow said, I don't disagree. We should hold one another to a standard we all think is appropriate. But until you become Tyrant Mary, I succumb to my baser instincts and enjoy gazing upon the female form for free. Well, as long as your wife is aware of that and is cool with that. I mean, I don't think she should be, but happens. DCNC said, Brett hates pierogies like he hates mocha, i.e. heart emoji. Oh,
Like-
he thinks you're pretending to hate pierogies and mocha.
I've never had one. Grafting trees, another thing.
What is grafting a tree?
Like,
does
like
that mean?
you replant something in the tree.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, all sorts of stuff. That,
You replant something?
like fix the branches.
Oh, that's possible?
Yep.
It just regrows back?
Yep.
That's cool.
There's also lots of trick shots, but everybody loves those.
I'm just going to look at my feed
Yeah.
and see how different it is.
Yeah.
Just expose my algorithm real quick.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty low IQ stuff, I have to be honest.
See, flooring.
You just watch this like while you're relaxing?
Yes, I'm watching TV. People are like, "Oh, are you watching TV?" Yes, I'm watching TV, but what I'm actually doing is watching videos
Okay.
about flooring.
I have Starbucks recommendations, matcha. I have skits by women that are like POV skits.
Mm-hmm.
POV, your friend helping while you try on clothes. Meghan Markle videos.
Oh, I also like the ones where they clean the world's dirtiest rug that could never actually possibly be that dirty.
They totally take like a new rug and they put cocoa powder on it.
Yeah.
And they rub it in and then they clean it. High Voltage 75 said, I'm surprised you didn't cover Amber Heard's Mother's Day announcement. It's right in Mary's wheelhouse as far as topics go.
We probably should have covered. Oh, we're gonna do it
Well,
tomorrow.
it'll probably come up tomorrow. But yeah, funny that her having a scheduled induction or C-section, which I've heard is Elon's preference for his baby mamas.
That was her. That was
on
her
Mother's Day.
That was her. Her retirement plan. Have 2 more kids with Elon.
I mean, if it works, yeah. Red Snow said, appreciate you think I have a wife working on it. Okay, well, I don't think that your future wife would like that you ogle other women very much. That's just a prediction.
You should not be ogling other women.
Adam said, mountains or the beach. Is this a dating app question?
I guess. What do you say? Mountains. Mary says beach if she has to choose between the two, I'm guessing.
Why?
I have no idea.
Why do you think that? Do I seem like a beach person?
No, but you don't seem like a mountains person either.
Do I seem like a nothing person?
You seem like an indoor person. I know this because you say that you avoid sunlight.
I literally do. I never leave the house without like sunglasses and like a hood. I actually, this is crazy. I drive with this is so stupid. When I drive, I put a hoodie on just one of my arms that's facing the window so that the sun doesn't touch. The sunlight would not touch my arm.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get a tan on my arm while I'm driving. But if I had to pick one, I guess I would pick the beach.
And I knew you would be unhappy to do so.
Yeah, like I'll go. Like I'll pretend to have a good time.
Like you choose mountains, except for when you think about having to get to work in the middle of winter, and then you're like, nah, never mind.
No. What I think of is like the insane spiders in the mountain areas. If you have a cabin in the mountains, just the insane, disgusting, gigantic spiders.
There you go.
So that's immediately a no.
I've been
I'm afraid of the ocean though.
I've been watching this show called Arctic Air, which is actually really, really fun. It's about this family that owns like an airline in Canada, and they run bush planes to like really dangerous parts of Canada.
What's
and
a bush plane?
Like so they're like they're not passenger planes. They carry cargo and some passengers, and it's a lot of fun actually. It was like from 2012. And it looks like the whole thing was shot in the mountains in Canada in the winter. The snow is very clearly, at the very least, like the wide shots are real snow, and they might be using fake snow for like the actual stuff outside on set, but they're getting like shots in these very like treacherous locations, and it was actually a lot of fun. I recommend everyone go check it out. Also, I've recommended the show Endgame like a million times on the show. It was a 2011 series about an agoraphobic chess master who lives in a hotel and solves mysteries. And it's on Tubi now. It hasn't ever been on any of the streaming services. You had to like buy it on Amazon Prime or watch it on the other Tubi that we are not actually talking about. You know, the R matey Tubi. But it's on actual Tubi now, and I do recommend go checking it out.
You're
it's
making
fantastic.
it too obvious. I feel like I should rework the Tyler the Creator tweet and say, "How is agoraphobia real? Just leave your house."
Just leave your house.
DCNC said grafting a sapling can result in a tree with different citrus fruits on each branch. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, those videos are cool. I mean, I like that stuff because I just imagine that. What's interesting is like the person who's teaching that to you. We're gonna go through this weird like transformational shift where the people who will make that content will have had those skills passed down to them by family members or like something they learned growing up. Whereas like there will be a whole generation of people who learned about it online but will never actually know how to implement it into the real world, and that's okay. But it's still more interesting to learn about, and I guess more wholesome than a lot of the stuff you get on the internet these days.
That millennial chick who had a lemon tree in her backyard, and she was like, I thought that I couldn't eat those. I just was getting them from the grocery store this whole time. Like, no one told her, like,
you can eat the
you
lemons.
can actually pick it off of a tree and
eat it for free.
No one told her. Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, just eat the damn pierogi. And yes, Mary, we do use a different internet. I literally watched an hour-long doc on the history of Taco Bell and a lawn mowing video.
Oh, I love those videos. I love power washing videos, and I love landscaping videos.
I might be interested in the history of Taco Bell. It just depends on who's narrating it.
Yeah.
They need to have a good voice, good delivery. Red Snow said, does ogling Space King count?
No.
I don't think so.
You're allowed to ogle Space King.
Is that all of their
that's everything.
Oh no, we have
One more?
a couple more, I think.
Okay.
Yorishima Otaru said cities have the same amount of spiders. Well, I don't see them in my apartment. So, I don't know. When I was living in a more like mountainous area in a cabin though, I saw spiders a lot and it was terrifying. Shane H. Wilder said Mary, not many, afraid of mountain spiders and not mountain lions. Also, does Tubi work better with Nord or ExpressVPN?
Whichever one ends up sponsoring us.
I've tried both. I'm not sure. Pay us.
Yeah. All right, guys. Before we go, would you all hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, both on YouTube and on Rumble, where you can find us. We have passed, I put it up there, we passed 1.38 to 1.41 thousand subscribers on Rumble. So thank you guys so much for that. Go ahead, subscribe over there. If you are watching over there, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. We have a couple of super chats. High Voltage 75 said, Mary, there's a tick on your head?
No, there isn't.
Now I'm getting paranoid. Are you guys just messing with me? Because if you're not, I really want to know. Red Snow said, how do I become a guest to debate? What?
Nonsense?
Nonsense? This
isn't a debate show.
We're not debating anything.
Yeah.
We're just going to tell you what's true and you're going to accept it.
Whether you like it or not.
DC&C sent the last one, I think.
Yep.
When the landscapers fix up the old ladies' lawns, super wholesome content.
Yeah, it's those are always great because that's like a great example of like the free market where it's like, here's a good deed we can do for another person. It benefits them, and if we can create content out of it, it benefits us. It's not the same thing as the people who go and just give food to a homeless person and stick a camera in their face. It's the opposite end of that spectrum. But I do recommend checking out all that type of content.
One more Shane H. Wilder. Weird food history for the Taco Bell doc. They also have a Waffle House one.
All right.
Okay, I love both, so maybe I'll study up on those.
All right. Guys, if you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. If you go over there, you can check out the op-ed that I did write today for the Daily Caller regarding Donald Trump and his proposition to Tariff Hollywood. It was an interesting thing to write. So if you want to go ahead and you can check that article out, it's in one of my most recent posts and a couple of retweets there. We are here 5 days a week, guys, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch, you can rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. That also helps out the channel, so thank you, guys. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at @popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.